See, right, so first and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakadash. We say, double and say, Apostle Elos agree, Muslim Lord, our teachers, our apostles in truth, and we say salutations, so they act and we say, push you with no truth and sincerity, day in and day out, and constantly in season or season, we say, Shalom. Once again, going into our video here and touching upon some news, right? You know, as I've mentioned before in a couple of videos I've done, you know, throughout the past few days, I've been mentioning that there's so much on news to keep up with, so much of things happening. When you read, you know, different sites, different pages that you may get your news from, your information from, there's so much happening that you might not be able to keep up with certain things. Some things you might miss, and then you might see it a later day. But there's so much of things happening in the world right now, and none of them seem to be good, right? As the scriptures mention, you know, for the days are what evil, you know, and the scriptures mention what the evils is what increasing, right? And we're seeing that now. Now, when I read this news today, the first thing came to my mind is famine, right? So let me just read it here. This is H5N1 just crossed another line. Multiple dairy cows on the same Dutch farm now have bird flu antibodies. The virus is circulating in wild birds and poultry in the Netherlands, and it is now reaching mammals in an intensive farming setting, right? So it's affecting what food, right? And just like I remember doing a video on I remember last year touching upon the same virus, how it affected certain farms, you know, and certain animals in different places, Japan being one, China being one, America being one, where they had was to cull a majority or a high percentage of the animals, birds, cattle, um, sheeps, you know. So the virus is taking a heavy toll, right? And reading this again, this is another country where it's happening. So you see, and what is the main thing it's affecting? Animals. As I say, multiple dairy cows, beef, right? Food, right? So you see simple things like that, and this is something that a lot of people don't know. There's literally a shortage on food. Farmers have been warning people for however long to stock up, right? To stock up. The plants, the animals has been affected by many different things. And when we go to the prophecies, you know, the Lord tell us about famines, the scarcity of food. So let's go to the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 16, verse 18. It said, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Yeah, what shall they do? There's a question mark, right? 'Cause a lot of people, you know, because of their unbelief, right, and choose not to believe, they're not prepared for the things that's about to happen, or they just don't believe these things are about to take place, right? And hey, we know you have to have the Lord on your side to actually go through these things, right? If not, you're gonna be catch, right? You're gonna be caught, because there's a lot of evils being sent, and who is sending it? The Lord, right? The Lord is sending these things. So that way it say the beginning of the beginning of sorrows and great mournings. Because when you look at the word sorrows, right? Then let's do a quick Google search. Sorrows. It say sorrow is a profound, often long-lasting emotional state of deep sadness, grief, or regret, typically triggered by loss, disappointment, or difficult life events. Difficult life events. Now that was just a AI overview on Google. It's a more intense than the general unhappiness. It can include physical pain, insomnia, and depression, acting as a natural human response to adversity that requires processing, right? So that's how heavy the word sorrows, the meaning of the word sorrows, right? Are difficult life events That would say it can include physical pain, because again, as the scripture say, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings. What you feel going to happen? It's things that is going to cause these difficult light events, the things that would trigger loss, disappointment, grief, deep sadness, because the amount of stuff that is going to happen to this place. Right? A lot of your jakes don't believe these things is going to happen, because you'll think you're in a good estate. You'll think that, hey, just because I could go in the grocery and buy a little food, things good. Just because you could go to KFC or a Chinese store or whatever it may be, you'll think things good. Right? You'll believe that the little work you're doing, that the employment industry is on a downward spiral right now. Right? So that way it says sorrows, right? It say the beginning of war. That way, the beginning of sorrows and great mourning is the beginning of famine, right? Famine, and sorry, if you keep up, right? And I see, you're watching the news, you would see there's a lot of stuff, a lot of warning, going on when it comes to like food, rather it be of animals or plants. Farmers have been given that warning for the past 2 to 3 years to stock up, to prepare, because things are getting scarce, right? Animals are dying out by different diseases, and we know this is, we know Esau spreading this stuff, right? But animals is dying out, multiple diseases. From what it says, that even animals, the birth of animals have it's slowed down. The plants have been getting destroyed by different chemicals, or different different events that may be taking place, right? We also saw where when tensions arise, when nation against nation, the price of food, it raises, it doubles, sometimes triples, sometimes it might go quadruple and beyond that, right? To the fact where you might not be able to buy or food, tin peas, if it's about $10 now, might in that time may be 100, 200. Where you gonna get that type of money? There will be a lot of looting, a lot of chaos, because why? Jake love the belly, right? And if you can't get food, it have a statement it is make. A hungry man is an angry man, right? And he will do whatever it is to get that food, right? So that scripture say, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils, what shall I do when his evil shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So these things are being sent for an amendment. When you look at the word amendment, right? Amendment, right? As I said, this is just Google using quick. Amendment. It's a minor change or addition designed to improve. Wow. See if I get a better. Say amendment is like a constitution. Let me get a better meaning. It say the process of altering or amending a law or document. It's an alteration proposed or effected by this process, right? An alteration proposed or effected by this process. Correction, right? Correction. So the act of amending something means correction, and that is what I was looking for. So amendment. So these things are being sent for what? For a correction, right? So that way it say, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment, for correction, right? And we see it in many ways that these famines could come. When you're hearing food being affected like this, and you could go and look it up. There's like some big farms that actually deliver plenty food worldwide. They have to get rid of a lot of their animals, right? To cull them, right? That's one of the you see. And then Esau also want to do what? They also want to give you the fake genetically modified food. What they're making in a lab, which causes a lot of sickness as well. Because why? It's fake, right? But we seeing certain things happen because again, if riots, these things break out, what you feel going to happen? Food prices skyrocket. If let me just say our country, one of next country, the market crash, things will obviously inflation, hyperinflation. We've seen all these things, right? Which will affect what food. And again, a man love his belly, you know, a man love his belly. Well, now we see diseases affecting farms, right? Affecting livestock. So that and there's a lot of evils because the disease itself is spreading so much that farmers, after they get rid of the animals, they have to start over. Sometimes they can't. Um, there were some of the farmers because the crop and the animals got destroyed by different reasons. Some by this particular disease. They had also sell the farm over to they had also sell the farm over to BlackRock or the Gates, right? Go and look up who own majority of farmland in America. Go and look it up, and you would see, right? Wasn't I believe it was Gates? Gates mentioned something where he said that food would have to be rationed out, right? Food would have to be rationed out. Hey, so we see that again. When I read this, it's like famine because there's so much of things happening, right? It said, "Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of scourges." Right? So another scripture I want to find here. Oh, right. Sorry. Let's go down a little more. Verse 21. It says, "Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think to themselves to be in good case." Right? I mean, I see good estate earlier. My bad. It's good case. Right? They think to themselves to be in good case. Right? They think everything good. Just because why? They could go on buy this there. When you look at the word victuals, victuals, right? Victuals mean it's a food or provisions. Food or provisions. Again, I Google. It's a provide with food or other stores. It's a eat. It's a from victus, which means food or to live, right? So it goes back to what? Food. It's a victual. So what does victuals mean? Food. A victual is anything that can be eaten. Victuals are food. Victual is a fancy word for a very simple thing. Any substance that can be used as food. So when the scripture say, "Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think to themselves to be in a good case." When you watch how Jake living right now, Jake does they just working you to see how Jake does spend money when it comes to food, right? They're buying food. No, they're buying food. They're buying food for lunch. They're buying food right after. They're buying food while they're going home. When they reach home, they cook. Because food cheap, right? They could order fast food. Fast food is the quickest thing. $20 and you get a box of food. $25 you get a box of food, right? Quick, right? And they think you feed a man, and he would think everything good, right? He would think everything good. So it say, "Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think to themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth." And that is what going on. Evils growing. Because this same page, I use this page to get like information or news on outbreaks. I see the name of the page is Outbreak Updates, right? It has so much on news about different outbreaks that are happening in the world. And you see, watch how much being put up. Right? This is the bad virus, right? The Nipah that's been spreading, right? And many other things happening right now. The measles, watch all this, right? So, as the scriptures say, evil shall grow upon earth. And this is just one thing. There's so much more happening right now. They say for many of them, I say, "And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion, right? So all that money they have, they wouldn't even be able to buy anything soon, right? It say, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, right? The scarcity of food. It say, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy, right? So even though they might escape the hunger, the sword will destroy it. So there's something waiting for them, right? But as the scriptures say, for many shall perish of famine, right? Things are just getting worse. Watch how much animals dying on a daily basis. Watch how, if you go in the grocery, people might again they think victuals should be so victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth. They think that themselves to be in a good case. They think themselves to be in a good case. But that evil is growing. Soon you see the shelves are getting more scarce and scarce and scarce. Right? Then famines are about to hit. And that is about to cause a lot of chaos. Right? So pay attention. Take heed to what it is going on. Right? So with that, once again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yoshai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. We say double unto apostle and a great Muslim rule, our teachers, our apostles in truth, and we see salutations so they are constantly pushing with no truth and sincerity, day in and day out and constantly in season of the season. We say Shalom.